All right, my next guest from Big B Sports Talk, Mr. Brien Hanley. How you doing, brother?
I am good, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Before we get into it, and you're a sportscaster, sports podcaster, and I can't wait to hear all about it. A lot of people don't know that you were a fantastic athlete. And just in case you forgot, I pulled up the resume. You ready? All right,
Okay.
four-year starter at Jefferson High on the basketball team. Won a
Yep.
state championship in Indiana, which is tough. You were the
Yes.
MVP, three-time
Yes.
Letterman. You won every award you could in football, and you even threw the shot put in track, correct?
That is correct.
Correct.
Yes, sir.
You go from there, you accept a basketball scholarship at Xavier University. You
Yes,
played
sir.
there 1 year. You
Mhm.
missed football. You transferred to a JUCO, and then you become the number one JUCO prospect in the country. You signed
Yep.
with Kansas State, and let me remind people, when he signed with Kansas State, this is when Kansas State was Kansas State.
Yeah.
Snyder, Michael Bishop. You played in the Fiesta Bowl,
Yep.
two-year starter. The all conference and everything. And then you signed for a short time with the Cincinnati Bengals, correct?
I didn't make it, but yes, I signed with the Bengals right after the draft.
All right. So illustrious sports career. And then you get into corporate America. And then
Right.
I reconnect with you a little bit. We were friends on social media, but then all of a
Right.
sudden in my Instagram feeds, TikTok feeds, I get these hilarious and very well produced and interesting takes that it says, make it make sense. And that's sort of your calling,
Yeah.
where you take a subject and you go, make it make sense, whether it's, currently, who's going to win the Heisman or the NCAA picking the Final Four for the tournament. What brought you to do that? Because it really took off from there.
I was just looking to do something that was different than everybody else. I mean, there's a
Right.
million people out there making content these days.
Yeah.
And to me, not enough people do things that make it make sense in the sports world. Everybody's looking for, the hot take. And I'm not saying that
Yeah.
I'm above that or don't do that. But my thing is, a lot of people out there, there's a space for just telling the truth about
Correct.
what's going on. And that's kind of what brought me to that is, hey, you know what? Let's make something that makes sense to people or that doesn't make sense to people. Let's get it out there and let's let the people to kind of decide on it.
Yeah, you do a fantastic job. So, whatever, you started this journey with the TikTok videos, and then about a year ago, you left corporate America to do this full time, right? What was
Yes.
when was that time that you just said, "Hey, man, I'm going to pivot and I'm all in"? What went into that decision?
Well, basically, I dabbled in it a little bit about a year and a half previous to that.
Mhm.
And just like doing anything entrepreneurship, it's like, look, if you're going to jump in, you got to jump in. You can't just stick your toe in.
Of
And that's
course.
kind of what I felt like I was doing is just like, I've got my toe in. Am I in? Am I out? I was taking breaks. And
Yeah.
I'm like, I wasn't seeing really much success. And I thought, you know what? I really, really want to do this. Well, I was in the mortgage world. And as we all know, interest rates literally jumped up almost 3% in like a month and a half. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you know what? If I'm ever going to do this, now is the time to do this. So my wife had encouraged me for the last 5 years to do it. And I
Yeah.
said, you know what? It's time to do it. And Dan, I'll tell you what, it has been one of the best decisions in my life as far
Really?
as businesses. Absolutely, man. I'm having a ton of fun. It's a grind.
Yeah,
Look,
of
I don't want
course.
people to think that it's not a grind. It is an absolute grind. It's every day because
Yeah.
sports happens every day. You got to constantly keep up with it. But if you love it, it's okay. It's fun. And that's the thing for me. I love it. I love talking about it. I love doing it. And it is a ton of fun, my man.
Well, you're a great guy to have good sports debates. And by the way, at the end of the show, you and I are going to have a few, and we're going to make it
Okay.
make sense. But so, how did you build your following? What went into it? How did you build it? And then how do you keep them engaged?
Sure. Well, first part was, you know, I mean, I'm older. I'm 48 years old, Dan, and TikTok out there is for young people.
Yeah.
And I thought, man, okay, I'm getting into this space where it's a bunch of young people. And then I thought, well, you know what? I'm kind of young at heart. Let's just throw out some stuff out there and see what happens.
Yeah.
And it worked. The one thing that I will say is I kind of asked some people on TikTok, I'm like, hey, man, this is what I'm trying to do.
Yeah.
I'm trying to build up a space here. How do I do this? And they just told me, said, just be yourself and just start making content. And I think that's a lot of it with people. They just don't do it because they're afraid to start. And I just said, well, I'm not afraid to start. I mean, heck, I spent 21 years in the mortgage industry where 90% of the people told you no. So I'm like,
Right.
I'm not afraid of rejection. So it's just like, here's what we're going to do. And I just started throwing it out there. I started on TikTok and then just kind of built it up from there. The thing about it is you got to be real. You can't be
Yeah.
fake, because if you're fake, the young, you know how young people can be. And that's where a lot of the audience is on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram. They'll eat you up. They
Yeah.
will literally eat you up if you're fake. And that's the one thing. You got to be real. You got to stay true to yourself, even if people disagree with you.
Right.
Disagreeing is okay. You know,
Yes.
that's okay. But it's stick to your guns. Don't be a flip flopper, because that is the first way that people will just say, oh, this guy's a fraud. We don't want any part of it. We're not going to follow. If you just stick to what you know, there are so many people out there. There's so many people in this world.
Yeah.
Somebody's going to like what you're doing.
Yeah, yours is a little different. Number one, you got a great hook, right? Make it make sense. You're
Yeah.
you're funny and you're charming. But what I would say in the sports world, they're so interested in the hot take or I'm gonna
Yeah.
dunk on you. And you're
Yeah.
more of like, I'm gonna present my case. Whether you agree with
Yes.
it or not, I don't know, but maybe we can have a conversation about it. And I think that's kind of your hook. And you're right. I listened to a bunch of your episodes and I'm like, crap, man, like to deliver 40 minutes a day of this stuff. I mean, it's why whether you love him or you hate him, Stephen A. Smith, man, hours of this stuff. I'm like, and
Yeah.
I could talk about sports all day, but like it is exhausting. Just
Yeah.
content, and you do a wonderful job of it, of presenting facts and why you believe in certain things.
Yeah, and I appreciate you saying that, because my thing is, it's like I mentioned, it's like I'm going to give it to you the way that I see it. And
Yeah,
I try to give it to you straight. Whether people like it, don't like it, disagree, or agree, I'm just going to tell you how I feel. And I feel like if you stick to that and you're not flip-flopping around, people will come back and listen. Like I do the Big B Daily Show. I do it every day live on TikTok and live on YouTube.
yeah,
And I throw it out there and I'm like, look, we're going to talk, and we're going to talk sports. And I usually read questions, I read comments, and I say, I don't like that. That's not true. That's not the
yeah.
case. Or I agree with it. And I just let people know. And for the most part, people have enjoyed listening to that, man. We've gotten a big audience here over the last month. We didn't start doing the daily live stream until
Yeah.
September, and it has picked up tremendously. And I think it's just because, hey, man, just being real, just out there, just being honest with people,
Yeah.
but having fun. You know what I mean? It's one thing
Yeah,
to be honest and not interactive, but you got to have fun and interact with people.
Well, which is interesting. Yours is a call-in show, right? So it's got that YouTube feed of people asking you questions, which
Yes,
I found pretty interesting. And you answer them, and I think that's a big part of the engagement, correct? Like that's how fans
absolutely.
come back. And
Absolutely.
and is it tailored to what sports season it is, or are you more college football, NFL? Like what's the angle?
I try to stay current on what's going on. You know,
Right.
that's the one thing that me and my, engineer slash producer, he loves to get back in basketball. He's like, hey, you got to start talking basketball. I'm like, man, nobody's
Football.
paying attention to basketball right now, man.
Correct.
We love basketball.
Yeah.
Everybody, I mean, a lot of people love basketball, but
Yeah.
it's football season. I
Correct.
go, it even right now, I know college football is over, but it's right in the thick of the NFL, man. It's like, nobody's paying attention to the NBA.
Nah.
Nobody's paying attention to college basketball right now. They're
No.
just not. I go, so it'll pick up a little bit with college basketball because college football is over. So it'll
Right.
pick up a little, but I try to keep it current. Another thing, Dan, that I didn't mention, talk about what you know.
Sure.
I don't know hockey. I
Right.
don't know soccer. So
Right.
I'm not going to go out there and act like, I know all this stuff. I dabble in baseball, but it's
Yeah.
hard to dabble in baseball when you're a Mets fan. Let's keep it real. But, so just talk about what you know. Don't try to be an expert on everything. I think that's where a lot of people try to be an expert. I'm pretty honest about it. I'll tell people, look, I'm a casual boxing fan. I'm a
Right.
casual UFC fan.
Yeah.
I go, I watch and I see, but I'm usually not talking about that because I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
And people can respect that because they're like, oh, this guy's searching for answers. He's fishing. He's guessing. Like,
Yeah.
I don't want to guess. I don't want to
Yeah.
guess. I just want to know what I'm talking about and deliver that information.
So if you're going out on your own, what tools do you use? You're the on-air talent. I know you, But
Right.
like behind the scenes, your engineer, what tools do you use? How do you work it? How do you market it? The YouTube, like walk me through. If somebody wanted to do this full time, what would they do?
Well, the one thing, like I said, you got to make the content. That's number
Yeah.
one. But find a platform that works for you. StreamYard is out there.
Yep.
There's another one. I think it's called EV Mux or something. But there's several different platforms. There's a
Yeah.
Riverside. But you got to find a platform that works for you and put some stuff in it. You know, if you want to get graphics, you can do all that kind of stuff. Again, that's not my area. That's not my area of expertise
Right.
at all. That's behind the scenes. But so find something that works for you. But I'll be honest, Dan, you have anybody that wants to do this, if you've got a phone, invest in a laptop, possibly invest in a good microphone, and you can do it.
Yeah.
You don't have to spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars initially to get going. You don't have to do that. Now, if you build up, don't get me wrong, lighting, all that kind of stuff, the production, all this stuff.
Yeah, you got good stuff in the background.
Yeah, that matters. Don't get me wrong. All that stuff matters. But initially, if you've got something good to say, you got to sound good, which it comes with a good mic, and make sure. I mean, everybody's phone has a camera, and camera phones, unlike people think that a laptop camera is better. That couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah.
Your phone camera is 1,000 times better than any laptop camera could ever be. So that's all you really need is a phone and a microphone. But yeah, you don't
Just
have
get
to
going,
spend
right? Just like with
millions.
everything in life. Get going.
Just
Stop
start.
making excuses. Yeah, just
And
start.
that's right. Just start.
All right. Lessons learned from somebody. Now you've been full-time in the podcast game for a year. You were doing that
Yes.
as a side hustle. Lessons learned. If you can go back a year, you can go. I give you the DeLorean time machine, and you can go back.
Yep.
What would you tell Brien? Advice.
Don't get discouraged.
Okay.
It doesn't happen overnight. That would be the first thing is don't think that you're going to have immediate success. Don't forget about the grind. And I think at the very beginning, first 60 days, I was discouraged because man, why aren't these numbers where they should be? I'm looking at all these other people. And then I started asking questions because I'm not afraid. Like I said, I was in the mortgage business, used to rejection. I'm shooting out emails and I'm like, what's going on? They're like, Brien, you've been doing it 60 days, man. I've been doing it 5 years. I go, it just takes time. He goes, you got a good product. I go, you just have to keep doing it so people get familiar with seeing you. I go, it's one thing if somebody sees you once, hey, man, that's cool. But then if they go to your page and they look and you've got 2 videos, well, they're not going to keep coming back. You just have to keep going and keep going. So that would be the first thing that I would tell myself is don't get discouraged and keep grinding. The second thing is literally just keep grinding. Just keep going. Don't let anybody get you off your path and what you think that you should be doing. Take the advice, but if you've got a plan, which I sat down and put together a plan on what I wanted to do, give it time to work. Don't let anybody persuade you or dissuade you from doing what you initially set out to do. And that was the one thing that I kind of let some people get in my way or get in my head and change past. And then I'm like, that's not really what I want. This is what I want. This is what I set out to do. And you can either be with me or not be with me. So and I think that works. And people can respect that more importantly.
How much content do you put out a week?
Oh, man. I mean, we do
a daily video.
Yeah, we do a daily video that's minimum 45 minutes, Monday through Friday. Wow. I try to put out 1 to 2 videos a day to put out either on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube, whether it's a short or it's just a short video, one of the two. Around 10 hours, I would guess.
Okay, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is. And maybe not that much, maybe 6 to 10 hours, somewhere around there. But sometimes you're looking for things to put in. You're researching some stuff. So it's a grind. It's some time. You can't just, hey, I'm gonna wake up at 12:45 and at 1 o'clock I'm popping on. It doesn't work that way, man. You gotta put in some research, but you gotta put in some time. So
10 hours a week is a pretty big number.
It is. It is, my man. It is.
This episode is brought to you by Buena Vista Creative, Miami's premier digital marketing agency. Visit buenavistacreative.com for more info on how Buena Vista can help your business increase revenue and create the brand and digital presence it deserves. video and podcast production, web and app development, search engine and social media marketing, logo creation, outdoor, print, swag, and more. Visit buenavistacreative.com to learn more.
All right. I can't let you go without doing our own version of Make It Make Sense. Rapid fire questions, you and I. Ready?
Let's do it.
All right. First one. Well, this one's interesting. If you had to play a JV basketball game right now, how many points would you drop? You're a former Division I basketball player. What would you drop? Well, I know you got a hurt knee, but assuming that knee was healthy, how much could you drop? I guess a JV team.
Look, here's the thing. I'm 48 years old. I'm 370 pounds now. Down, I will admit, I've lost a ton of weight. I lost 75 pounds. But
Congrats.
Having said that, I mean, if it was one possession and they said, we're going to put you in the game, Brian, we need a bucket to win. I can get you that bucket. I can get you that bucket.
Maybe that's all we need. That's all we need. All right. Let me ask you, recent news, did the bowl committee get it right? And if so, why?
You know, it depends on how you look at it, Dan. I'll be honest with you, is because if it's about money, it's a business. College 100%. Football has been a business forever. And just for people to know, I'm going to put out a video later today talking about all this basically started back in 1998 with my team, Kansas State. We got screwed out of going to the national title for literally the same thing.
Really?
So, yes, man, we got screwed because they took a team, Florida State, and put them in the national title game. The computers did because it was the BCS, the first year of that.
Yeah.
They lost to a 5-6 North Carolina State team in like September or October. We lost the last game of the year to the number 9 team in the country in double overtime in an extra game that nobody else was playing. We remember at the time, the Big 12 was the only conference that had a championship game. Nobody else had one.
You're right.
And the Big 12. So we had to play this extra game. And because we lost out on the national championship. So if you look at it from that perspective, that it's a business, because Florida State was a much bigger brand than K-State.
Of course.
Then they got it right. Because I think the committee looked at it. We'll take the backlash from Florida State fans versus backlash from the entire South. I think that's the way they looked at it.
And they don't want to put up a game like they did last year where TCU got destroyed, right?
And they're afraid of that, even though
they're afraid of
the argument of Florida State fans are, well, you don't know that that's going to happen. I'm like, it's
going to happen. With the third string quarterback, it happens, yeah.
I watched you play Louisville, and I saw what that was. And Louisville is not good. And look, I love Louisville. I'm from Louisville. But they're not that great of a football team, and that was a tight game. You struggled for most of the game to even move the ball against Louisville. You were going to get stomped by somebody. That was going to happen.
And most important, it was a boring game.
It was a boring game.
And they're trying to sell the game.
So personally, I think they got it right. I know that stinks and it's not fair, but I think they got it right.
It's not fair. Yeah. I mean, listen, college football in general just to be turned upside down on its head. And we got to fix this. All right. Ready?
Yep.
I know you're a big fan of the movie Hoosiers.
Oh, yeah.
What type of prospect was Jimmy Chitwood, the star player on the team? Was he D1, maybe NBA? What do you think?
Not NBA, because I don't think the athletic ability. Well, I mean, if it was back in the 50s, he may have had the athletic ability. But Jimmy Chitwood was a shooter. He was a shooter. So he absolutely Division I. And if you actually look it up, Bobby Plump, the guy who is, the character is after, I mean, he was really good at Indiana. So,
oh, really? I didn't even know he was a real guy.
Yeah, as a real guy.
This is why I come to you. This is why I listen to your radio show.
The real guy, Bobby Plump, made the shot in the state finals. It's weird because they, in Hoosiers, they hold the ball. It's like 10, 15, 20 seconds. In real life, I think it was 3.5 or 4 minutes that he just stood out there holding the basketball. So, yeah, that's a real thing that they.
All right.
If you go look, you can look it up on YouTube. It's wild. He's just holding the ball for almost 4 minutes, just standing there.
What an awful
and then
brand
goes
of
and makes a
basketball.
shot. Just awful basketball,
all right,
man.
You're from Jeffersonville, which is right over from Louisville. You're a huge Louisville sports fan as well. I have to ask you a Muhammad Ali question, and this one's a little controversial. You ready?
Okay.
Ali Liston Part 2, the famous Phantom Punch. Ah, you're smiling. Give me your thoughts. Was
I
it a throne
mean,
fight? Was it a legit fight? What do you think happened there?
here's my thoughts. Sonny Liston was an enforcer for the mob.
Yes.
Again, just base it on
Mysteriously dies in the Cortez Hotel in Las Vegas.
Yeah, just base it on any movie that you've ever seen. Have
Yes.
you ever seen a mob enforcer go down by some sort of punch like that? Have you ever seen that?
Never.
So
He was one of the baddest men in the world.
that's right.
And the giveaway is two things. Number one, boxing has always been mobbed up. And two,
yeah.
this is the rematch of the most famous fight up to that time.
Yeah.
And it's fought in Maine. In Lewiston,
Yes.
Maine. I don't even know where that is. In front of like 7,000 people. So like no cameramen were there. They got the famous Ali punch from the side.
Yeah.
I don't know if Ali's in on it, but did Sonny maybe throw the fight? Perhaps.
Yeah, I think Sonny got down on his gambling debts and took a dive. That's what I believe.
And took a dive. All right, I'm going to give you another one. This one might hit home a little bit. You're a big Steelers fan. The Immaculate Reception. Did it hit the ground? Or was it a clean catch by the great Franco Harris? And hear me out. There was a rumor, a long rumor, you've heard of it, that Al Davis was screwed because he and Pete Rozelle hated each other. And on that play, the catch happens. Steelers go to the Super Bowl. Raiders go home. Was it a clean catch?
Well, of course, it was a clean catch. It was definitely a clean catch.
I've never seen a good camera angle on that. Why? It was in the 70s. It wasn't like it was in the 50s.
That's the whole. And you would think there would be some camera, but I'm like, how does a camera catch him reaching down to catch the ball, but the camera doesn't keep going to see if the ball actually hit the ground?
That's my
I'm
point.
like, would they black out the bottom part of that lens of that frame or something? Because
Yeah.
I'm like, I just don't get it. But I think there's 1,000,000% truth that, Al Davis and Rozelle, they hated each other. So they just let it go. But I mean, I don't know. First of all, I think it was illegal because I think the ball hit a guy that was actually illegal to even touch the ball initially to begin with. But it happened. We'll take it. You'll take it.
You'll take the ring. All right. Michael Jordan, when he took a break, quote unquote, from basketball, was it gambling related?
I think so, for sure. I think the NBA just told him, hey, man, look, you got to take a break. There's too much evidence that's going to come out. You have to take a break from this. Come back in a year and a half, 2 years, and we'll keep it going. But you got to stop.
It's an ugly mark. Let it simmer down, and then we'll bring you back. I mean, there's and unfortunately how his old man died. Like it was a very shady way. Like they shot up a car and very weird circumstances around. All right, one more.
Mm-hmm.
Is Taylor Swift ruining the Kansas City Chiefs?
I would love to tell you yes. I just think the Chiefs just aren't as good. I'd love to say that Taylor Swift is in the way. She's a distraction. But, Jackson Mahomes is also a fan and rooting for the Chiefs, and he's been a huge distraction.
He's
and
a huge fan winning.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, so they've been winning with him. So if you can win with that guy running around in the press box and on the field, just being an absolute idiot, you can do a lot. So I just don't think the Chiefs are as good.
Awesome, buddy. All right. Hey, man, thanks for your time. Where can people find the podcast and all your information?
Well, first off, on YouTube, we are Big B Sports Talk on YouTube. It's also on Twitter. We're also on Instagram. You can find all that. You can find anywhere you get a podcast, you can find Big B Sports Talk. Just any platform, you can find us out there. That's what we're doing now. We have a live stream, like I mentioned earlier, that we do live on TikTok and live on YouTube Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Central Time. That's where we're at. We're just getting started. We're in the infancy stage.
You're cooking, baby. You're cooking.
We are good. Just starting. So I appreciate you saying that. We're just getting started. 2024. That's what we're talking about. Being
all right, man. Well, listen, in 2024, if you need a sports analyst to go on and chop it up with you about something, let me know, man. I'm in. You want to talk Miami Heat? You want to talk Dolphins? They're on their way to the Super Bowl,
got it going right now, don't they?
They're cooking. They
man.
Are. All right, good stuff. Hey, Brien, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. Appreciate you. Everyone, check out his YouTube channel, podcast. Keep doing what you're doing, brother. I'm very proud of you.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you
Take
for
care,
having
man.
me.